Welcome to this midweek message for the Golden Cap team. I'm Sankey, one of the lady worship leaders who helps take some services round the team. On Sunday I remarked to somebody that it had been good to have an extra hour before church as a result of the clocks changing. His reply was that he found a change a nuisance, as his body found it difficult to adapt. And when I woke early on Monday, I too was experiencing something of that. Of course, the change of clocks is sudden and arbitrary, but days have been shortening since midsummer and will only start to lengthen again after the shortest day in December. Similarly, we can appreciate the colour of the autumn leaves, although when they fall, I struggle to clear them and keep the drains and gutters clean. There are some ways, of course, in which routines are helpful, whether it's to have a regular time to brush your teeth or take your prescribed medicine. On the other hand, if everything is worked into a prescribed pattern, then we may find it boring and lose interest. In our lives, we need to find the right balance between routine and variety. If we're still working, our particular role may offer variety or be very repetitive. I think our church worship often reflects the same dilemma. We may appreciate both the familiarity of the forms of service that we use and also what changes from week to week, the different Bible readings and sermons from different people, for example. Of course, there are things we may make changes in our own lives, but other changes are made by other people and can catch us out. There were a lot of bins on the streets of Lyme Regis for a whole week back in September. Dorset Council had decided to suspend the collections on the Monday of the late Queen's funeral and delay them until the Saturday, unlike their practice at Christmas when they move all the bins one day later. And a lot of people had not heard about the change, so their bins had gone out on Monday as usual. Another example, rather different from many years ago, I had to make a train journey that involved several changes. There were a group of us who attended the same conference and were returning to Guildford, and I had suggested the trains we should use. As I went to board a train at one of the stations, I said to them, "Come on, this is the Guildford train." A commuter getting off said, "No, it doesn't go to Guildford." One could imagine a pantomime scenario developing. "Oh yes, it does." "Oh no, it doesn't." But of course there was no time for that. I had to decide almost instantly whether I had read the timetable correctly, and we did proceed to get onto the train, which duly took us to Guildford. The commuter was trying to be helpful, but what he had missed was the fact that the timetable had changed at the beginning of the week, and that this particular train had only just started to serve Guildford. More generally now, and unfortunately I feel, there are a lot of changes going on to bus and train times, and it's absolutely difficult to keep up to date. Whether it's due to a defective railway track, causing trains to have to run slowly and therefore be retimed, or due to a succession of industrial action, or simply to reflect the changed habits of the public since COVID. I think we often reflect on both aspects when we speak about God. We may speak about the God of surprises, but as Hebrew puts it, routine and constancy are also part of the picture. From Hebrews chapter 10, "Let us hold fast to the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who has promised is faithful. And let us consider how to Provoke one another to love and good deeds, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. A reminder that aspects of our routine and some of our habits may be unhelpful and need to change. And from chapter 13, verse 8, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever, a constancy on which we can depend.